Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha'rakah, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders, great and firm well. And shalom to the whole full elect. This is Payal of the GMS London Camp, and this is News and Prophecy, Prophecy and News. And I have an article here from Zero Hedge, which reads, Scottish police enter home, arrest family after neighbours snitched on them for violating vid rules. Alright, so basically we're in that time, alright. This is 2021, right, the year of hastening to the coming of our Lord. Alright. If I've mispronounced the title Salakia, but it's the year of hastening, that's what you have to understand. So things are gonna move very quick, alright? Just like 2020, but as you know, this whole time that we're in, the end of the end, is like a woman with birth pains, basically. The woman has birth pains, she's in labor, and if you know anything about giving birth, the little I know is that the the word escapes me right now, but the birth pains, for lack of a better word, basically heighten up until the time of delivery. Okay, and this is the same thing that's happening right now with the return of the Lord. All right, we're in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, and really, this has really been a snowball heading down a hill, gathering steam, more and more weight and growing larger as it goes on. And it's only going to culminate until the point of the Lord's return. All right? So with this incident here, this is biblical prophecy coming to fruition. All right? Part and parcel of it, which is going to lead to the latter part of it, which I'm going to read. So this is Scottish police enter home, arrest family after neighbour snitched on them for violating vid rules. Alright? So the story reads, it says, police in Scotland entered a home and arrested a family after neighbours snitched on them because there were too many people inside. Alright? And it shows you the climate of things as well. Fear is stirring up the people. Alright? To the point where the grip of, the vid is making it as to where they're prepared to call authorities on neighbors that have probably known for years and friendly with, or even obviously neighbors they really hate. All right, but basically it's setting up that divide as to where it's every man for himself. All right, even like in this instance, basically. All right, so it says the incident happened on Wednesday night at 11:20 p.m. in Aberdeen, and a clip of the encounter has since gone viral on social media. All right, so this is a viral clip which I'm gonna play. All right, I ain't gonna read them quotes because you're gonna hear it in the video. Okay, but just pay attention to it.
My house. That is Williams. Right?
Come on. Not William.
Yes, it is.
It's not
It's my house.
Well,
Get out of my house. I did not ask you in here. Get out.
We could have forced the door if you didn't open it.
For what offence? For what offence?
Because of suspicion that you have people within your address that do not belong here.
I am a woman of this land, right?
Women of this land are not
Listen.
mad.
Strong man. No, but strong man. Get out of my face. Get your fucking body out of my fucking house.
Absolutely not. You
Right
should
now.
again and we'll ask you for a breach of the
No.
peace.
Alright, just stop it, man. In my house.
Yes.
In my house.
Yes.
I do not think so.
Well, trust me.
What's wrong? What's wrong with you, mate? Right, no. Mum, no, please, my mum's not. No, please stop it, my name, no. Please,
Okay, and we seen things like this happening over the course of the pandemic. This ain't nothing new, but it just shows you that it's moving. It's under the measures that's being established. This is going to become more of a frequent thing, and it's going to become normalized. Right, there's some form of uproar now. All right, but guess what? This is going to happen more and more. All right, you've already had Boris Johnson come out and basically say that the police are gonna basically come down and be more harsh in their dealings with people that are basically going to not following the rules, and this is what we're gonna see. So it says, this is what your taxes and catapulting the government and catapulting to the government get you. Scottish police use lockdown powers to storm into a home and violently arrest the family. The children screaming really fucked me up, all right? And they were saying that the kid had epilepsy, and you could see the police officer really went for the children, basically, all right? So this is what's going to happen. You're going to have, nuclear families, mom, dad, son, daughter, the dog, all going to get rounded up and get taken to these detention centers that they stand to build, all right? Or wherever prison, wherever they're going to take them, and basically deal with them as such, all right? So it says particularly, I can't pronounce that word right, particularly harrowing is that the children can be heard screaming as their parents are forcibly handcuffed. Police Scotland later confirmed that the officers entered the home after a neighbour snitched. We received a complaint from a member of public regarding the breach of vid regulations at a property in Aberdeen around 11:20 p.m. on Wednesday, the 6th of January 2021. Police officers are legally allowed to enter Britain's homes if that person reasonably suspects that an offence under Regulation 5.1 is taking place on premises according to legislation, reports the Daily Mail. Although whether this applies under vid regulations is still a subject to debate. Alright, so it shows you that they're bending and manipulating these laws to serve whatever purpose they determine. Like in this case, the fact that they were snitched upon, they used this regulation to basically go inside the house and round up the family. So it says 3 people were later charged with with assaulting officers, alright, and threatening and abusive behaviour. As we have previously pointed out, the new national lockdown, and you know that could probably pop out from what did I say, Oyen boys. Them Edomites, man, they ain't used to dealing with the police, alright? In a very conservative, you know how Jake got to pattern up, and we got to, place our words very well so that the police don't get onto us and do us anything amiss. Whereas as you could see in the video clip, the wife was getting irate, then she went to straw man and didn't even, try to go down that route. Then the husband got in front of her, then wind up moving forward to the police officer, and then all hell broke loose, and he had the daughter coming as well, so that shows you that, really the point being is that they got charged for that, all right? Where that might fly in their mind because they just look at police officers like, oh yeah, just there to say hello, just keep the peace. They've never had any bad engagements with them or engagement with them. They have a sense of comfort, but they were shown otherwise, all right? And everyone's going to be shown otherwise. As we have previously pointed out, the new national lockdown is virtually the same as the previous lockdown, with its primary purpose being to allow police more draconian leeway in viciously enforcing the arbitrary rules. Alright, what you gotta remember is gradualism is in effect, alright? Incremental change of rule, basically. That's what we're seeing. As it tells you in the book of 2 Maccabees, the 8th chapter, it tells you about how the Romans, which were in the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, how the Romans basically What did they do? How they basically, established their rule by way of policy, and it escapes me. It says two things, but the main thing it says is policy. All right, so they basically administer policy as to where people have to, get with it or get down or lay down, basically. As we highlighted earlier, 2 women were interrogated and fined by police for going on a walk. 2 women were interrogated and fined by police for going on a walk in a remote area, despite this not being a violation of the law. All right, so they weren't violating the law, but they still got interrogated and fined by the police for going on a walk. So this is really letting you know that, hey, the rules that are being applied right now to this game are not the rules that you've been given. All right, they got the luxury to do whatever they please with these laws and bend it to their own will. All right, but the main point I want to harp on is dealing with this police coming in and arresting people at their will. All right, because that's biblical prophecy taking place. So it's Luke 17. So I got 2 scriptures to read, and they're quite lengthy but edifying nonetheless. So this one isn't as lengthy as the next one. Sorry, it's luckier. But I can get into, you can read prior to it because it talks about as in the days of Noah, etc., etc. It's describing Yahweh Shai going into these times that we're in. So it's Luke 17:33. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. All right, and that's how people are going to basically willingly follow after the laws that Esau's going to establish. All the rules and regulations that he's going to put in place, people are going to fall in line with him, even though they with, like, for example, right now, the second top best-selling book right now on Amazon is George Orwell's 1984. All right, why is that? All right, because everyone knows what time we're in. All right, they're seeing the things that are happening, and they're more than aware. All right, with Trump getting the second impeachment as well. All right, it's letting you know what time we're in. Okay, he really is the rise of cancel culture. By Trump coming in, his time being in office has ushered in a whole new generation of things. All right. And basically, one of the main things being cancel culture, all right, because he speaks, great rhetoric that a lot of people want to, and anyone that speaks in that light, they cancel them out, all right, among other things. But that's a side note, all right. But let me read this again, Luke 17:33. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, all right, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. All right, because people are going to do anything to preserve their life. Like, for example, take the vaccine, all right? And the other thing as well is take the RFID chip when it comes into play, right? The mark of the beast, all right? They're going to do anything and everything to fall in line in hopes of preserving their life. Because what they're going to tell themselves is, this is how it is now, all right? We just going to have to get used to it and deal with it, all right? Or for the sake of just some form of normality and stop being in the house, they're going to do these things, all right? So it says, verse 44, but if you go against it, basically you're going to preserve your life, all right? And that's dealing with the elect. Verse 44, I tell you, in that night there shall be 2 men in one bed, and one shall be taken and the other shall be left, all right? So it's basically saying one's going to be taken from their house, and 2 men in bed, and one's going to be taken from his bed and the other one's going to be left. 35, all right, says 2 women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken and the other left, right? So they'll be grinding at the mill working, all right? Grinding, like that song. Getting their hearts grafting. And guess what? That one of them's going to be taken away from work, all right? Where are they going to be taken to? Revelations, the 2nd chapter, tells you about them being cast into jail. All right, and these things are basically going to happen off the strength of the present situation that we're in, the present predicament. Everything you can see is indicative of all these prophecies coming to pass All right, we're moving towards this time with detention centers being set up. All right, and holding centers as well for people that test positive for the vid. All right, so it says verse 36, two men shall be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. So there's going to be two men in the field, one's going to be taken and the other left. All right, and they answered and said unto him, where, Lord? And he said unto them, wheresoever the body is, thither the eagles be gathered together. All right, so let me move on to my next scripture. So now this is 2nd Ezra 16. I'm going to read from verse 23, 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right, and these things are all growing upon the earth. Right, they're really coming. They're coming to fruition. The sword is growing. All right, because you're seeing that violence all across the board is at an all-time high, man. I saw this thing on this channel SNTV. One Chicago dude that was basically talking about one Jake went on a killing spree the weekend just gone and shot 7 people and killed 4 of them in critical condition, 3 of them are dead. Alright? So you got the outbreak of violence, right, and different forms of violence happening even with the police as well. Police over here in the UK killed a Somali guy basically in police custody, beat him to a pulp, right, when he was falsely arrested. He was innocent. He went home, went to sleep, died in his sleep. Right. Also in Belgium right now, they killed a individual in their custody. I think it was a Jake. They killed him in their custody. And basically, you had them French and Belgium Jakes over there, man. They're a different breed, man. And Dutch basically lit the bloody police station on fire. All right, I just saw it on the social media. Okay, so this is the sword is increasing amongst the people. It said sword, famine. We know famines are coming. You've seen what's been happening with the shortening of food, and you got people that are now on the breadline in terms of going to food banks and getting food delivered to them. All right, the famine is growing upon the earth, and great confusion is growing on the earth. Everyone's confused as to what to do. All right, you tell them follow the Bible, they're not gonna hear that, man, because their lot is for great confusion. Verse 22: For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right, so basically the death is gonna catch them. All right, it's gonna hunt them down, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. All right, there's gonna be no man to comfort them when these things happen. All right. For the earth shall be wasted and the cities shall be cast down. So it says why? Because the earth is going to be wasted and the cities are going to be cast down. Cities as you know it are going to be, brought to a halt and going to be cast down. A good movie that shows that and dealing with London, because it's in line with what I'm going to say, is 28 Weeks Later, right? A zombie post-apocalyptic movie. Where basically after the first movie's called 28 Days Later, basically talking about a zombie apocalypse, and then 28 weeks later you got the United States government coming to the UK, into London in particular, and set up a perimeter within the city of London, right, where outside of that perimeter is no man's land basically. It's the wild west. Zombies just running amok basically, but within the borders that confines of that border, your good money, all right, and basically, that's a good example of, if the law will that be a possibility, all right. So it says, for the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down. That shows you, that's a movie that shows you the city being cast down. but operating on a lesser scale. Alright, verse 24, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. Alright, so there's no man to earth or till the soul, so it's gonna grow wild. The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? No one's gonna gather them, alright? And what you don't realize is a lot of just bramble bushes, wild bushes, just on the back of parks. There's a video me and the Elder Ramar did years ago. I did with the Elder Ramar, dealing with forestation of the United Kingdom, and basically there was, we saw a jaguar, alright, live in the flesh, and basically we was just walking around these different places or whatever, and at the back, I think I can't remember which way it was around, but one time we went there, it was landscaped basically, it's easy to maneuver through. There's another time we went to, it wasn't, it just grew wild, so the footpath wasn't there, and the bush basically covered the footpath. So it was more the fact that, you've seen a jaguar, it's quite bewildering to think that, do I really want to be walking in these tall bushes, all right, when I saw a jaguar, nowhere near no tall bush, all right? But anyway, let me stay on topic. It says, the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Trees is going to give fruit, and they're going to fall off and rot. The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all the places shall be desolate of men, all right? So it's going to be empty. It's going to be like a no man's land. Like I said, that movie, 28 Weeks Later, all right, that's a good example. But then also you have, what's the other movie you have? What's this thing called, man? 28 Weeks Later. Oh, The Road, Book of Eli, I Am Legend. Just desolation, basically. Desolate of men. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. So you be out there in the wilderness and it be mad silent and you just by yourself, all right? And you'd want to hear someone else, but you ain't going to hear no one, all right? For of a city there shall be 10 left and 2 of the field, right? So it says in the city shall be 10 left and 2 in the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rock, right? So they're going to hide themselves in the thick groves and the clefts of the rock. So you're going to have people basically maneuver away from the cities, all right? Because what did it say? It said the cities are going to be cast down and they're going to be hiding in the clefts of rock and in thick groves to stay away from all of the hardships there. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives, or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters, and them that diligently seek through the vineyard. All right, so there's barely gonna be anything there, like those vineyards and those vines, basically. All right. So reading on, it says, even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with a sword. So you're going to have gatherings of troops of people like you've seen in the movie The Road, all right, where they're basically divulging, dealing with cannibalism. Then you had the movie, what's the other movie I'm thinking of? Not I Am Legend, man. I said it already. Book of Eli, same thing, all right, where they basically going to be going around. Even Contagion shows you that they're basically going to go around and basically, go in there with a sword. Verse 32, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. And I mentioned that about like going through, and these are parkways, all right, little Greenland walk spaces that, are shaped around the cities, all right, that basically have gardeners that come through and maintain those pathways. They ain't gonna be doing that no more. So you're gonna have all these travel ways that are gonna be unable to be maneuvered through unless you're gonna go through there with a machete. All right. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. All right. So all these are the things that are gonna happen. All right. All these things that I mentioned, this is what's gonna happen, all right? And this is all the catalyst to this all is what you're seeing here, all right? With the police having more legislation put in place to basically allow them to do anything they desire to the people, all right? And it's basically setting the president to bring about these things, all right? Because as I read in this point, it said oh, this was the point I was reading. It's luckier, man. Like I said, it said, yeah, even so in those days shall be left 2 or 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with a sword. All right, there's only going to be left a few men in the houses, basically. All right, and as I read in Luke 17, it's lucky, excuse me, the point is eluding me right now. But yeah, as I read in Luke 17, basically dealing with, the houses being plundered, all right, and that's being initiated by the police entering into these houses, all right, and giving and searching through them, all right. Yeah, so that was a point there. So for every city, there shall be 10 left, or 2 in the field. And why is that? Because the authorities are gonna basically gather up the people and put them where they desire to put them, all right, and few be left, however they escape or whatever happens, all right. So anyway, with that, man, we're in perilous times. Just pray for mercy, man, and be diligent. All right, so with that, I'd say shalom.